Hello. Hello. You speak English?
Oh, I know little.
You know a little. Okay, I'm an English teacher.
Oh.
Okay, welcome back to my channel, guys. So this is my now second vlog video in Chengdu since I've been living here. I actually was just in the Jinli Street area, which Lulu and I went to back when we were here in April. Maybe I'll show like a little clip of it like over here or over here somewhere. I'm not sure if you guys saw that video, but I was just there filming for Lulu and I's TikTok page, or Douyin, sorry, which is Chinese TikTok. And now I'm kind of just doing my own thing, kind of just strolling around right now, doing a bit of a night walk, just explore a little bit here in this area. We're quite close to Tianfu Square, which is like right in the center of Chengdu. But anyways, yeah, I kind of just want to walk around for a little bit with you guys, walk and talk, show you a bit of the night sights here, and kind of just take it a little bit easy in this video. So yeah, let's just get to it, take a nice walk. Right up my boys, right up my boys, right up. So yeah, I am, like I said, I'm pretty close to like the center of the city right now, Tianfu Square. Yeah, I would say in general, this area, like, it's not really a nightlife-y type of area, so that's not really what I'm trying to show you guys in this video. Again, just trying to take it easy, take a bit of a walk, and just show you a bit of the sights at nighttime here. But yeah, I'd say in general, Chengdu, it's such a beautiful city. It's huge too. Like, you know, the longer I live here, even though it's only been like less than 2 months, I'm realizing just how big it actually is. It's huge. So there's a lot to do here, a lot of different things to see. And you know, each district kind of has its own energy, its own vibe. Even just like individual streets really have their own kind of vibe. So it's going to be interesting to show you guys that over time and really dig deep into the city and show you guys some things that you might not have ever known existed here unless you lived here or saw in a video like this. Also, I just bought a wide angle lens for my DJI for the first time. So if the video looks a little bit wonky, maybe it's because of that. So I'm testing it out tonight to see how that goes. But yeah, maybe there's a way to correct that in editing. I think there probably is. But if I don't correct it, then that's probably why it looks a little bit weird. But I do like the wide angle lens because you get a lot of that background kind of like behind me. So you can, you know, we can, you know, talk to each other like this, but also kind of see what's going on in the background and really kind of absorb the ambiance. The other thing I need to figure out how to fix is like the flickering from certain LED lights. I think it's LED lights that happens. I don't know actually exactly how to correct that. I know there's a way to do it in editing, but it can be very, I guess, like processor intensive. And some of the programs to do that are quite expensive. So I want to see if there's a way that I can like avoid that while I'm shooting these videos. But anyways, that's technical stuff. We don't need to talk about that. So as I walk closer to Tianfu Square, I believe that this area is a bit more of like a businessy type of area. There's a lot of like a lot of tall office buildings like this one right here. There's a lot of that, and maybe not a lot of what you would expect from like, I guess, a nightlife type of vibe. But to be honest, those are kind of the areas I like to walk in when I want maybe a bit more of like a relaxed vibe. You know, not too many people, not too crowded. And I think overall just a bit more relaxing. Really lets you kind of sit with your thoughts a little bit and take things in around you. But of course, that's at nighttime in these kind of areas. During the day, you know, in a business area, of course, it's going to be a lot more busier, a lot more traffic, a lot more, you know, people at work, maybe going out for lunch, that type of thing. But yeah, at nighttime, I really like to walk around in these kind of areas. That's not to say I don't like my fair share of nightlife vibes. I definitely like that. But that's definitely a video for a different day. So when you're in Chengdu, I mean, this is a case in a lot of cities, but when you're at a major intersection like this, sometimes you have to go up the stairs to an overpass to cross to the other side of the street. I don't need to, I'm just doing it for the sake of showing you guys, but I always like the views from up here. I mean, look at that. You got the foliage, you got the city and the buildings in the background and the lights. Yeah, it's beautiful. So if I keep walking down this side street here, I think in not too long now, maybe another minute, I'm gonna hit the main like center road that goes north directly into Tianfu Square, which again is the center of the city. So maybe I'll walk up there just to show you guys quickly. Okay, and here we are. As I said, if I kept walking down that street, I would hit the main road here. I don't know the name of it, but it goes straight north into Tianfu Square, which is up there. So let's head there together. And so here we are, not directly in Tianfu Square, that's actually right behind me over here across the street. But this is essentially the center of Chengdu right here. And as I said, you know, it's actually not like, hello. It's actually not like super busy, right? Like from what you would expect from a big city like this in the center. But yeah, it's like, you know, it definitely has that grand big city vibe right here. You have a lot of the tall buildings in the background, as you can see, a lot of the office buildings. But yeah, it's a really nice place to be, especially during the day. It's very bright, you know, fair amount of people. It does get a bit busier, but definitely a different vibe. So what I want to do next is I want to go across the street and walk through the square a little bit. You know, it's actually a little bit busier out tonight than it was the last time I was here. The last time I came here, it was like totally dead. And I think it might have been during a holiday, I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's why, because people are out of the city. But yeah, tonight's actually got a fair amount of energy, I'm not gonna lie. So maybe you can ignore everything I said. I really don't know. You know, I've only been here for less than 2 months. I'm not an expert on the city. I'm just going based off of my observations. You know what? I think before I continue, I am going to actually go to the washroom because I really have to take a number one. You guys probably didn't need to know that, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. So I will see you guys back here in a minute or two.
A few moments later.
Okay, all finished there. Anyways, I'm up the escalator now. I just ran down to the underground kind of shopping area and where the subway is as well to use the washroom. You know, I have to say, the thing I really like about being here versus Toronto is that there are way more public washrooms, way more. In Toronto, like if you had to pee, like you had no choice. You were going to Tim Hortons or Subway or something to pay like, you know, a couple bucks for something to to use their washroom because, you know, washrooms are for customers only. But here, man, they're everywhere. Actually, also, there was a couple times being here where, you know, I asked like a restaurant like employee or owner like where the washroom is, and they would just let me walk inside and use their washroom, even if I wasn't buying anything. So yeah, totally different cultures between Toronto and here when it comes to that. So that's obviously great, especially as someone who likes to drink a lot of water, a lot of fluids. I'm constantly having to pee. Gotta stay hydrated, you know? 这个可以吗？
可以。
Okay, 谢谢. I was just asking the police if I could bring the camera into Tianfu Square here because there's a sign that said no drones without permission. I don't know if that applied to like normal cameras either. Okay, yeah, but here we are. So where I'm walking towards is now, I think, the center of Tianfu Square. So I think maybe technically that would put us in this absolute center of Chengdu. So that's coming up right over here. There's a lot of monuments here. One right there, a smaller one in between, and then another one down there in the distance. So I was told the last time I was here that this monument is to replicate like a hot pot, you know, like hot pot that you would eat. And then same with the one over there. And it's really hard to tell from this view, but these lights on the ground actually form the shape of what I believe is the yin-yang symbol. So if you looked at this area from an aerial view, then you would see that this Tianfu Square actually has like the silhouette of the yin-yang symbol. So wouldn't that make it Tianfu Circle, not square? Interesting. Anyways, so now I'm right here in the center. This is the other monument. I'm not quite sure which one this is. But yeah, there's no drones allowed here, so we can't really get an aerial shot of this, but maybe I can find something on Google or somewhere else that I can show you guys to show you what I mean about the yin-yang symbol. And then as we approach this monument right here, which is also a hot pot, on this side, you can actually see into the shopping area that I was just at to use the washroom, but a bit further down. So this area also leads to the subway as well. So there's like food court, subway, restaurants, etc. So I guess other than to look around the monument and eat, I'm not quite sure what else there is to do in the square itself, but surrounding the square is actually quite a bit. So I think down the street over there behind me, I think somewhere like down over like here, like down over there. Sorry, I didn't want that guy to think I was pointing at him. That's why I moved awkwardly. I believe there's like an art gallery or something of that sort. And then right here on the other side of the square behind Chairman Mao is the Sichuan Science and Technology Museum. So that's definitely somewhere I want to go eventually. I don't know exactly what's in there, but that would be really cool to check that out. On the opposite side of the square, which was on the opposite side of the Science and Technology Museum, is that main road that I was walking down. So you can see more taller buildings down that way. So this video started as what I thought was going to be kind of just a, you know, a quick walk and talk and chill conversation with you guys, but instead it turned into a Tianfu Square tour. But anyways, I think I'm done here. I'm gonna walk down the street a little bit more and yeah, catch up with you guys there. So see you in a few seconds or so.
On the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul, good karma is a must. Still my shooter in the cut. I was stuck inside a rut. Played the game, made bank, moved G. Anything to get a buck.
Okay, so I have walked down the street a little bit east of the square, Tianfu Square. And yeah, now just kind of take in whatever street I feel like taking and continue to talk with you guys. Also in China in general, when it comes to like traffic, whether it's like, you know, pedestrian traffic, bicycle traffic, mopeds, cars, it's, you know, there are like the general rules of the road, but it's definitely a bit more chaotic and requires some intuition, yeah, to like kind of avoid, you know, hitting people or people hitting into you, which in a strange kind of way, I kind of like that actually. I do cycle a lot, and when I do, yeah, you really have to use your intuition, but I feel like things are a bit more lax with the rules, which it can be chaotic, but as long as you tap into your intuition, yeah, it's kind of really going with the flow. And yeah, the reason why I feel like I actually gravitate more towards like the chaoticness of the traffic here is that the rules are more lax. I know that might sound crazy to a lot of people, but I think when the rules are like too strict, people get like a little too angry. There's a lot of road rage, you know? Sometimes people are just like so strict about what you can do. And if you wiggle your way through those rules, even in the slightest, people are gonna get pissed. Like, for an example, when I'm cycling back in Toronto, if I'm like, maybe just a little bit too far away from the side of the road, maybe I'm like 2 centimeters off into the lane rather than closer to the sidewalk. I've had people like honk their horn really loud and like almost gesture me to move closer to the side of the road. And I get it, for safety reasons I do, but it's the way that people get so angry about it. It's like, okay, I get it, I should be following the rules a bit more closely, but they get so mad about it. And I know a lot of people back in Toronto dislike cyclists, and that can be a big part why I'm a bit biased. And I prefer, as a cyclist, to go a bit more with the flow over here in China. Now driving a car is another thing. I don't know about that. I don't know how much I would like, the style of driving here. But in terms of, rules of the road and cycling, I prefer it a lot more here. It's a lot more intuitive. But yeah, cycling here can be so much fun. I actually just bought a mount so I can put my DJI on my bicycle while I'm cycling. And I can do this kind of same thing we're doing now, but talk and cycle with you guys and kind of show you around that way as opposed to walking. That is a blast. That is a blast. I love cycling around here. And to be able to film and talk to you guys at the same time, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be lots of fun. I've stopped here because I see an interesting market. I think it's like a wet market. Yeah, I'm just gonna go in actually. Let's take a look. Sorry, just one more point on the whole rules of the road thing. I was gonna say, in a lot of my footage, you might hear in the background a lot of honking. So the difference between honking back home in Toronto or Canada, America, whatever, versus honking here is the honking here is more cautionary. It's people telling each other, okay, like I'm coming up on your left, or for you to look over your shoulder, to make sure that you don't accidentally step in their path, as they're cycling or driving past you. Versus back home in Toronto, if somebody honks at you, at least from my experience, is generally road rage. It's not for cautionary reasons. It's for road rage, or almost like if somebody cuts you off, it's like a gesture to essentially say, F you. Anyways, that's enough with the rules of the road. Anyways, guys, I just want to say, I love living in the city. There's so much to do. There's so much to see, as you can tell, even just from walking around. I feel like, back home in Toronto, like walking around.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. You speak English?
Oh, I know little.
You know a little. Okay, I'm an English teacher.
Oh. Hello.
Yeah, 英语老师，我是。Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye. Have a good night. Bye. You see, as I'm telling you guys that I love living in the city, you see? Example A, just people coming up to say hello and stuff. But no, what I was gonna say is like, just walking around, like, you don't even have to like do anything. It's just, there's so many cool things just to even look at. And maybe that's just like, my foreigner lenses, because I'm coming from a city like Toronto where, things are, I'm not gonna say boring, maybe I'm just used to them. I'm just too used to them. Versus here, everything's so different, right? So even just walking around, I feel like it's just a good time, walk around, drink in hand, and that's it. And then, when Lou is here with me, even better, just her and I, good company, maybe just drinking some tea, walking around, looking around. For me, that's a good time. That's a good time. But yeah, I said this on my last Chengdu vlog. There's a lot to do here. I'm gonna have a lot more videos on the way, and the longer I live here, the more I'll figure out, the good places to go. I have Lou with me, and she speaks Chinese to a native level, so she can actually, help me maneuver things a little bit more, and we can do things that maybe like the average foreigner who comes to Chengdu might not be able to do. So definitely when those opportunities arise, I'm for sure gonna show you guys and just show you kind of some of those hidden gems of the city. But of course, also the touristy areas. I have nothing against touristy areas. I love them. I love the energy at them. You know, sometimes the food I find can be hit or miss, and that probably goes for any city that you travel to or visit. But just the energy in those touristy areas is really cool too. And lastly, once again, let me know what you guys think of these kind of walking and talking videos. Again, I really like doing them. It helps me build up my confidence and talk to you guys, you know, one-on-one like this instead of just showing you, you know, visuals. I think having these kind of conversations with you guys, it's we can really get into depth about, you know, certain things, certain topics, and it just feels maybe more natural. I don't know. But yeah, let me know how you think I'm doing with that. I think it's gonna take me some time to get better and better at it. I do like to ramble a lot. Hopefully in the future I can get a bit more focused with the things I talk about and not be all over the place. But it is what it is. It's a learning process. I'm in a new city, you know, so everything really is a new learning process. A lot of new experiences, a lot of new things to discover and learn, and that's really the beauty of life, I think, at least, you know, is not staying within your own bubble and really just learning and growing constantly. But yeah, with that being said, this was great. It's really nice to talk to you guys like this. And yeah, a lot more videos are on the way. And I'm excited to show you guys more of life in Chengdu. So with that being said, have a great day or a great night. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.